but really destroyed, past tense? What do you think, Myron?
Well, it depends on in which way you want to go. If you want to talk about destroying the family, the dating marketplace, the way women view men in general, there's so many different problems that have come from feminism, and it's a multi-pronged issue depending on whichever section you want to go.
Name one.
I mean, we can start with dating, right? So these bitches are too entitled, if I'm going to be honest. You know, their expectations are far too high for what they bring to the table. They're fairly delusional thanks to, you know, social media, dating apps, etc., where, you know, simps are blowing smoke up their ass all the time. And what's happened is women have a very unrealistic standard on what they think they deserve versus what's out there. And if they do find that guy, they think that that guy should kind of bend to their women. The reality is it doesn't work that way.
Wait, actually, one thing I want to give a little pushback, though, Myron, and
Sure.
you do talk about this a lot. We talk about the 304s, the hoes.
Yes.
So if these girls are being extra picky, kind of like you're saying, then why are they also hoes at the same time?
Good question.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because a lot of them are hoes.
So when I say that they're hoes, what I mean is they have promiscuous type behavior. I mean, they're still, you know, having sex with a smaller portion of the men, but they're still getting a high body count because there's a lot of these guys. So what ends up happening is a lot of girls end up being Eskimo sisters with a lot of other women because they're all smashing the same, you know, minority of men. You know, and this gets, especially like in major cities, like in Miami, for example, right? Like the girls that are going out and doing things and whatever, they're hooking up with the same small percentage of guys all the time.
And that's what I mean about that.
Right. I mean, obviously that's a hyper, you know, analyzed portion of it, but in general, you know.
Well, that's the women. Do women have too high of expectations for men, and are they hoes?
If they are, who cares? I would say no. I would say I enjoy being a member of society. I like being able to vote. I like being able to have a bank account. And it's so crazy that I'm also a mother at the same time with a husband who loves me and is able to handle the fact that I'm my own person.
Yeah, so the last time I did a video on this appearance, a lot of people were telling me like she used to be like on Fox News. So it seems like she's one of these like covert feminists where it's like, oh yeah, they're like conservative, but they're still like, oh, girl boss. But to me, Tyler, it's funny because it seems like they just get offended when we tell like women like, hey, you guys have certain duties and responsibilities. It just seems like they kind of just want to be able to do whatever they want. And if you tell them there's duties, they take it as, oh, we want to take away their rights. We want to just chain them to the stove or something like that. Like, what do you think about this?
I don't know. It's weird. Like I kind of think people can maybe mix conservatism with Christianity a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what her beliefs are, but if she's just a conservative, but she's not a Christian, then I can understand her take. But if she's actually a Christian conservative, then maybe not so aligned. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know, because there's a lot of strong women. Like, I'm not one of these repeal the 19th type of people. There's a lot of strong women, and there's women property owners and all kinds of stuff like that. And there's educated women nowadays where there's a lot of dumb guys. You know what I mean? In addition to that. So just make a blanket like separation or whatever, I don't know. It's a really slippery slope that's probably would end up hurting. Like when it comes to winning elections, at least it would hurt the Republican Party more than it would hurt the Democrat Party, I think. But I don't know. Maybe I'd have to explore that a little bit more. But I don't know, man. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it's just that like you know, as men, I feel like we're still kind of held to like responsibilities and duties in society. Like as men, we don't get choices. Like Tyler, were you ever told, hey, Tyler, when you grow up, you could be a stay-at-home father or you could go out and get a job? Like, I'm pretty sure you're told, no, you got to get your ass up and work, right?
Right. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. But I can tell you in my marriage, I've been married for almost 21 years, that there has been times where I was the breadwinner and there's times when she was the breadwinner. But it took us both working 100% to make it in today's society. It's really hard to get by on one income for the majority of Americans. And so, you know, maybe my relationship is unique, but I feel like, I don't know, there's more of a equal grounds nowadays with Western American society versus like the traditional way that it should be. And I'm all for anybody wanting to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever, you know what I mean? But or husband, I guess, if that's how your relationship
yeah.
wants to work it out. Like that's between you and your spouse. But I don't know. Like,
I think it's just so much the messaging. Like it's not like people are saying, "Oh, we want to ban women from the workplace." You know, it's like it's not that we're saying that. It's just
Mhm.
that, as men and women, there are duties to be fulfilled in society. Like, yeah, obviously with the way the economy is and stuff, like obviously, yeah, it's probably going to take a two-income household and stuff, which is a whole other issue that we're going to have to like work to fix.
right.
But it's just that it just seems like with the messaging, guys are like expected to uphold a certain standard, and where women, it's kind of they're kind of just told they could kind of do whatever they want. And from my perspective, I think that's where a lot of people are getting at.
Right. I
Like my
think a lot of this
perspective.
is pre-married too. I think there's a big difference between pre-married single. You don't sleep around and have a high body count when you're married, and that's some of the things that are preventing crossing the threshold. So I don't know. It's a weird. I'm seeing people are asking in chat that they missed the question, and I don't remember it off the top of my head. The question that was asked to the woman here.
Yeah, I actually don't remember either. I think she might have been asked to talk about what Myron just said, and so I maybe that's what it is. But all right, let's continue though.
Well, I think Kat makes actually a good point though, Myron. Like, is it that bad if a girl has a job and a college education? Like, a driven woman, let's say she's
Mhm.
driven to do more
Sure.
than just be a mom. Like, why is that demonized? I guess in your
Well, look, I don't have a problem with women, aspiring to go to school and everything else like that. My thing is, I think we just need to be honest with them. If you're going to go ahead and pursue a career and higher education, your chances of finding a man are going to drop off precipitously because your standards go up as you increase your income, your status, and because women are hypergamous, they're not like us. When we get status and money, our standards stay fairly the same, or we just want a hotter girl. But when women increase their status, they want a guy on their level financially, mentally, etc. So we just need to be honest with women: is the more successful you become, the likelihood of you finding a guy drop off.
There's a really
That was
funny-
not the case for me. I'm actually more successful than you are, Myron.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Well, to be fair,
And I have a baby. Do you have a baby?
It's funny to me. I
You
look
know, the one thing I will say though is that she does have that, is that she at least does. I think she is married and does have a kid. The only thing that I think stops some of these like red pillars is that a lot of them are single and not married with children. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so that's my thing with the red pillars, is that it seems like they're kind of the opposite of feminists sometimes. Like the opposite side of the same coin.
Yeah.
Because it's like a lot of feminists, there are a lot of single women that are kind of just, I don't know if they've had trouble keeping relationships or whatever, but sometimes I feel like that's also where these red pillars come from too. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, a bit. Like I can just say, I have a 26-year-old daughter, and she actually just got married, and she's
Oh, congratulations.
yeah, it's pretty cool. She's been with the guy since high school, and it's taken them to this point where they felt financially comfortable. And look, my daughter makes like $30 some an hour. She's a dental assistant, and he has a good career as well as a mechanic working for a dealership. And it took them to this point where they felt comfortable enough to get married, but they eloped. They didn't have an expensive wedding. They went on a vacation for a week and got married in front of a judge. And they did it just for themselves. And so, like, I don't know. I wonder if Myron Gaines' opinion on this changes once maybe he gets married, for one, or two, has a daughter. You know what I mean? Because yeah, look, if we took society and completely were able to just flip it to this scenario where the kids get married at 15 years old like they used to, they start having kids, just as young practically. I mean, that's what my grandparents did. I don't know about before them, but 15 or 16. And, if we can get back to that, and then people end up living their whole lives together as a married couple from that point, I think we would be much better. But the way that society has made it so, all we tell kids is go to college and then put yourself in financial debt with student loans, which I had to tell my daughter, don't do it. Like, she enrolled in college for a semester and I said, don't do it. You're not in any position to like support this. You know what I mean? Think about the long-term only do this if you know what your end goal is. Like you go in, you want to be an engineer, you come out an engineer at the other end. You know, you go in wanting to be an architect. George, shout out George Costanza. You know, go in as an architect, come out as an architect. You know that then you come out with a job paying you $90,000, $110,000 a year, and you're on the right path. And it's just a matter of a couple of years till you're out of that debt and you're off and running, right? But if you go and you just want to be a business manager or whatever, you know what I mean, you can do that without putting yourself in debt. And then also you get these people that get stuck in the trap. Well, I graduated college. I still don't know what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to go for my bachelor's. Now I'm going to go for my doctorates. Now I'm going to go for this. And then they just bury themselves further and further and further. And, you never know what you're going to come out with at the end. You might end up just being a teacher or, on the other end of that, you know what I mean? Or, a professor at a college. And it's like, dang, this is going to take me a while to get out of it. So if we could go back to, one income family pays the bills, raises the kids, you get married at 15. I think a lot of women would love that, just to be a homemaker and raise the kids and go forward like that. You know what I mean? But instead, it's to the point where you got to have both people working to pay the bills, to cover the internet, to have a new car, to whatever. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, how can I afford a kid at this point? It seems so expensive. It's $600 for a car seat. It's you know what I mean? If I can't breastfeed, then formula is super expensive, and there's all these like barriers that are put in place. And so I don't know. It's a rough scenario for youngsters nowadays to make that decision, and people still do, and people still have babies. Even me, when I had my kid, I was 16, 17 years old, and went that route. But man, it's just a different society. If we could take it back, I think we should take it back. It's just not that easy. There's too many hands in the pot and too many overlords. You got big pharma, big tech, all these people trying to get their piece of the pie. You have all these middlemen in between, and it's a rough go for youngsters nowadays to make that commitment.
So I think we're in agreement that like it would be great if it could go back to that. I also do agree it is hard. I don't think anyone's suggesting that it's going to be like a flip of a switch. If and then tomorrow everything's just gonna. Yeah, obviously there's a lot of work to be done because, like you said, the economy, all these things, there are all these other factors at play, and so. But I personally think if we do start doing the work now, we could maybe like build toward bringing it back to like how it was before.
Right. Dave said, Tyler, so you were a 304. Is that a hoe? I don't know. Is that what that is? Is that hoe backwards? I'm sorry. Honestly, it was the girl I lost my virginity to. I'm not married to her anymore, but I fell in love with the first person and we ended up having a kid after a couple years.
All right, well, let's keep playing.
Yeah. I didn't see a stove, so I don't know why this woman's here not talking.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were.
I don't make dinner. I make money.
This is not a kitchen. This is not a kitchen. Somehow, some woman is talking. I don't know. This isn't a kitchen, but she's talking.
I got an important point for you, Myron.
Yeah.
All that matters in the end is in 20, 30 years, she's already got a genetic leg up with having a kid.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a kid, your line ends. Where's your kid at?
Oh, well, I'll have one eventually. I'm just going to try. I'm trying to pick out my 4 wives first. You know what I mean? So I'm picking them out.
There's another woman here, though. I don't know, Kat, do you consider yourself conservative or liberal or?
I mean, I consider myself my own person. I'm independent.
All right. Well, the self-avowed liberal. What say you?
What say I? I say, the 2 questions. Are women's standards increasing? Yeah, I would say by and large, women's standards are increasing as they get access to work and education. The issue is that they're not really staying single. Most of the Pew research shows that women are dating and dating successfully. The real question that I think is actually at the heart of all of this is are people happy? Are people finding meaningful relationships? And in what ways is society hampering and harming them or benefiting them? I think those are the important questions.
Yeah, I feel like
relationships.
Yeah, isn't loneliness up? Isn't loneliness up, Tim?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think
dating is down, loneliness is up. There was that graph that went viral that people are basically becoming neats, men and women. They're less conscientious. They're more neurotic. They're less agreeable. They're isolating themselves. I don't know if that's a product of feminism, but what I can say is right now the current system is not conducive to happy relationships between either men and women.
I actually agree. I think that the way that our society has oriented itself, where it's obsession over money and working and the betrayal of family and connection relationship is harming everyone. I don't think that this is a unique like woman problem or man problem. When we're talking about like the loneliness epidemic, it's mostly a male skewed issue, right? Like men in the Pew Research, men between the ages of like 18 to 25, 61% of them, I think, hadn't even dated before. Whereas I think it was only like 30% of young women.
Doesn't that prove Myron's point?
Sort of. I mean,
These women are dating, but the men are not. That means the women are dating all the same guys.
well, no, they're not. Like most of these women are in monogamous relationships, right? The issue is
Well,
actually
so
the 20-year-olds are dating like men that are typically like 4 to 5 years older than them. That's actually more so what we're seeing.
So let's just break it down for me, my misunderstanding then, because it sounds like I might be misunderstanding. What was the number? Most women have found relationships.
30% of women have dated between the ages of 18 and 25, whereas
And then-
61% of men have not dated.
Right. Okay.
Wow.
So that's the same number, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm not understanding.
That
what you're
means
saying.
30% of men have dated and 30% of women have dated.
No, 61% of men between the ages of 18 to 25 have not had a relationship.
So that means 30
Right.
of them have dated.
So that means 30% of men have had a relationship.
Sorry, did I mess up? Did I misspeak?
You're saying both. 30% of women
Have not dated.
have not dated.
Okay,
and
have not
60%
dated.
Sorry,
have
yeah.
not
Okay,
dated.
so
Yeah,
that-
we get
that's-
it. Sorry.
So if it's 2 to 1 men not dating.
Real quick, Godspeed. This is actually a good point. Yeah, I think it's narcissism. Everyone wants narcissism. Everyone wants trophies and accessories, not relationship. That is a good point too, which is why I can kind of compare red pillars and feminists, because I feel feminists, they want these like perfect guys, but I also feel red pillars also want perfect women, and you're not going to find perfection. Bottom, like, my belief is you got to find someone with like the same kind of morals and values as you.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, like my wife, I got married to her, and one of the she had the same values and pretty much overall beliefs as me, and we both put really great importance on marriage and
Mhm.
relationship and the relationship. Like, we both valued each other as a relationship and marriage. We didn't just treat this marriage like, oh yeah, I'm just going to marry someone for the hell of it or what have you. We took it seriously, and we're like, no, if we're getting married, then death till death do us part.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
So I think and also to find a good woman that could that's willing to take care of you, who's going to want to take care of you when you're old and sick.
Mhm.
Because in the end of the day, like, I've heard a lot of secular people that are like, well, why should I get married for? Bottom line is, who's going to take care of you when you're old and sick? Like, who's going to be there for you? Like, it's not, if you're single and you don't have kids when you're 50 or 60, like, your parents are going to be gone. Maybe if you have brothers or sisters, but they might be busy with their own lives. It's like, who's going to be there for you at the end of the day? I don't know if you have
Yeah.
any thoughts on that.
No, I totally agree. And you sound like your marriage is very similar to mine. You need to pick somebody that's going to choose you at the end of the day every day,
Mhm.
and vice versa, right? And
Mhm.
it's about the relationship, what Godspeed says here. It's not necessarily about the trophies and the accessories, because honestly, it's a pipe dream to expect the rest of your life, if you get married, like say in your 20s or whatever, I mean, even 30s, 40s, to expect that the rest of your life is just going to be peas and carrots. You're going to have your highs and your lows. And if somebody's going to run at the first, obstacle,
Mhm.
then it's not healthy. It's not the right person, is essentially, of course, because they're going to leave. So yeah, there's heavy emphasis on, continually making the choice to choose the other person every day, but then also having that same commitment from your partner as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's some, that's why it's like you see like rich guys and oh yeah, look, I'm married to like this hot woman. It's like, okay, great. Yeah, she's attractive, but that's not going to last long. And two, it's such a superficial value to marry someone on. Is that woman
Yeah.
really there for you, or is she just there because, well, you have money, you're there for her because she's hot? It's not the way
Yeah.
to go into a marriage at all.
Absolutely. And then, do you really want to go into the marriage and no offense or no, people can't control if they're attractive or not or whatever, but it's like,
Oh yeah.
if you're marrying a person because they're attractive physically, then you have to understand that everybody else is going to be attracted to them physically. And can you handle that? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
are they strong enough willed to resist all the advances and things like that? You know what I mean? And they, once again, still choose you at the end of the day.
Exactly.
but women are dating, then the women would have to be dating.
Well,
the
between
same
that
guys.
age, well, no,
Right.
no, that's the age bracket. 18 to 25 is one of the key things.
Right,
here
right,
that's
okay,
going
so
on.
but the
So
point
women
is,
are dating older men.
Oh, I see.
That's what's making up the
Yes.
gap.
One
I think
point
Myron
that-
agrees with that, right?
Yeah. I mean, the reality is, average women don't want average men. They date up. And now with, the way we have society, hypergamy is not only reinforced, but it's encouraged. Women are told to not settle. They're told to get the best man that they can get. So a lot of girls think that they qualify for something a lot of times, which they actually don't. And sometimes I have to be the reality and let them know, like, look, you're average. You got to be, a little bit more realistic about where you stand.
This isn't really
But average
hypergamy,
women
though.
don't want average men.
This isn't really hypergamy, though, right? Like, what are men typically selecting for in a relationship? Youthfulness, beauty, right? Some level of like making him feel good. What are women selecting for? Stability factors. And so in this way, women are dating the pool of men that give them the stability factors, because it usually takes men a couple of years to get education and a career and like something built underneath them. And men are selecting for the things that they
Well,
want.
it's
which
not
is
just
young
stability
and
anymore,
beauty.
is what I'm trying to say. It's not just stability.
What do you
It's
mean?
also, is the guy handsome? Is he tall? Is he charming? Is he charismatic? Like, since women make their own money, they're able to be a bit more selective because they don't just need the provisioning anymore. They want other things as well. Is he handsome? How does he look, etc. So women do have a staked interest now in how a man looks and how he conveys himself as well, since they handle the provisioning part themselves. So it's made women more selective, but that's kind of come at their dismay because now it's harder to find that guy. There's the total package with everything.
Sure. The issue is that like the actual problem here is that we're leaving men behind. The issue isn't that we're like raising women up. It's that men are disproportionately being like undereducated in school. Primary school is horrible for young boys. We're not giving them social scripts on how to exist. And we're still telling young men that their only value is the amount that they can contribute to the GDP. When in the reality is that like what women are looking for is men that like make them feel valuable and that they can emotionally connect to. And so like the real issue here isn't that we're raising women up. It's that we're leaving men behind, which I'm actually very interested in.
I want to make
Well, so it's funny that she acknowledges that we're leaving men behind, but she doesn't see how feminism has played a big part in that. It's
Yeah.
because of feminism and this overdoing of, well, we need to make women feel empowered every single where. I think that's a big contribution to why men are feeling behind. So it's funny, she sees that we're leaving men behind, but she's not willing to put the blame on feminism at all.
just one point though. I think men are a victim of what their surroundings, because the amount of men that have microplastics in their testicles now. Seriously, now the amount of estrogen
You're
in
getting
men-
some right now.
Exactly. So I'm saying, don't we think men now have higher estrogen levels than ever in recorded history?
Yeah.
So I feel like that is kind of why the men are, I guess, coming in second place if we talk about
Well, there's
feminism.
a
It's a
multitude of
problem for
problems.
everyone. I'm only 36 and I've already had cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's a
like,
serious thing.
Yeah.
I know, it's serious.
Yeah,
some
there's
environmental
problems.
shit going on.
And who's in good shape, Kat? Like, you've never been fat or gross?
No,
I'm
not
saying
to
you-
brag, but I've never been fat. Yeah.
I mean, but that does have, like they say, the fatter you are, the more likely you are to get cancer. So I'm just saying there's a lot of toxins in our water, in our food that are making men, less masculine and less aggressive.
I want to. Maybe I'm just jumping the gun, but I was just thinking about if we want to go into dating stuff, I think maybe we'll come back to it. But and the question of feminism, the one thing that I really pisses me off, women won the right to vote without civic responsibility, and so
They
you
shouldn't
can-
have the right to vote.
You can make the argument.
Repeal the
I think it's
19.
fine. I think it's fine to say women should have the right to vote. However, we got to look at the context in the United States, and that's women do not have an obligation to die in war that men do, but women can vote overwhelmingly for Democrats promoting these wars, and then men are left on the hook for a war they tend not to vote for. That's fucked up.
So sure, the issue
I'm glad
is,
we're on this topic. Repeal the 19. I was
Yeah.
going to say that earlier when she was yapping, but that's fine. Yeah, repeal the 19.
I think only landowners should vote. Let's go back. Let's go back to pre-Civil War. Try to vote now, Myron.
I think
Yeah,
it's-
women shouldn't be able to vote.
I think we have two issues here, right? Number one, the vote has never actually been tied to military service. It's typically citizenship and age are usually kind of the two main things that we've always used for voting. I would be totally fine with us having an amendment where we add women to selective service. I have no issue with that whatsoever, right? And I think equal strokes. The issue is that when it comes to voting, there are going to be topics that uniquely affect men and uniquely affect women. In this case, war does uniquely affect men right now, which might be unfair. But in the case of something like abortion and birthright control and all these sort of things, these disproportionately affect women, right? And so when we're talking about like who gets the right to vote, is it because of like certain topics uniquely affect one gender over another? That's not how we've ever tied the right
Yeah, I mean, that's wild. She compares like going to war to like abortion.
Yeah.
Uh, you
And
know,
then
she's
acting. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and then acting like abortion only affects women. It's like you realize how a baby's created or a pregnancy happens, right? Like there's plenty of men out there that have lost their potential only child because a woman went and removed it. It had no say.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing too. You know, they'll say like, "Yeah, men have more rights," but it's like, dude, like, yeah, men don't have any say. Like, if a woman finds out she's pregnant and goes to abort the child, and the father finds out, like, he didn't have any say on whether or not he wanted to keep the baby. You know, it's
right. No,
always just left up to the woman.
yep. Just legally, I mean, he can try to influence her or
Well,
talk her
yeah,
out of it, but I mean, legally standing at least is what I'm referring to. But and I've known a guy that happened to, and it's unfortunate. He hated it.
hmm yeah, it's sad. But another thing too, it's you know, when we're talking about voting, obviously we're talking about things like the draft, but it's not the same as abortion where you're electing. Well, first of all, you made the choice to go and have sex, and then you know you got pregnant. It's not the same thing. It's not pregnancy is not just
Yeah.
something that happens to you. You know, you may it's because of your choices.
Right. And furthermore,
Whereas,
I think. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, you could go ahead.
I keep interrupting. I apologize. But I'd say furthermore, I think that most men don't really want women to be conscripted into war, or you know what I
Yeah,
mean, or whatever. So it's like it's really kind of a false premise. Like, okay, well now we're on equal ground. Like she's like, well, we'd be on equal ground if because I support women being allowed to be in drafted or whatever. And it's like, no, guys don't want that in the first place. That's kind of
yeah,
the point that they're missing.
yeah. No, exactly.
To vote. It could be landowners. It could be multiple things. In America, though, we seem to mostly decide age and citizenship.
But the problem I have is that Democrats have been substantially more likely to vote for war, to promote war, particularly Ukraine. Republicans have been pressuring Trump not to be involved. His base split over the Iran issue. Millennial women are about 70% voting Democrat. So you have this phenomenon in the millennial to Gen Z younger generation where women are disproportionately voting for a war they have no responsibility in, or I should say a limited responsibility in. And it's crazy to me that half the population can vote and the other half to die. And that's equality.
So I'm a millennial woman and I am married to a veteran, and both of us are very anti-war. He is anti-war as somebody who went over there. I think that to pin the power of the military industrial complex, which is a very powerful force, on women being able to vote is wild. But I also understand
that's a mischaracterization of what I said.
I think I was talking more about what Myron said than what you said. I understand also that this is like Myron's whole thing, but so you have to say like women can't vote, and then you get attention. You also kind of act like you invented misogyny, which you didn't. Like it's been around for a very long time. These are not hot takes. These are like very old, archaic.
But he is in the top 10, right?
Because he goes really hard and he gets a lot of attention for it. And then there are these men, sadly, who listen to you, who I think are lonely. And I love men. I'm not like a man hating woman. I love men. And I think that a lot of men have been left behind in a lot of ways. And I understand that. But I don't think that blaming all of your problems, if you do blame all your problems on women, then that could be the reason why you don't have one.
Oh, there's another group of people that
I just laugh because she seems very like bothered and very like just upset that he's there saying these things, and that's what makes it funny because she seems so triggered. Um,
Yeah.
and that which is why he keeps saying those things, because he knows it bothers her.
Right.
Um,
The look on his face right there. He's like,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Myron blames his problems on it. It's not women.
Well, I want to
true.
let Myron respond, but I guess I want to pose this question: what is the bigger threat, feminism or misogyny? What's worse for society?
So when I say feminism, I feel like things like I have the right to vote, I have a job, I'm a participating member of society, which is different than hating men. So it kind of depends how you
Well, do you hate women, Myron? I'm not just more curious.
Sometimes. Actually, most of it. No, I'm just kidding. Look, the reality is that when it comes to feminism, etc., women are stupid. Let's be honest about this. And the reason why, right? It's not just, and she said it herself, misogyny isn't something new. She's right. In ancient China, to the Middle East, to Eastern Europe, everybody knew that women are. So we need to make them second-class citizens. So that's why they don't have the right to vote and do a lot of stuff. And then now
What an eloquent argument. I never could have come up with
She didn't
something
even let
that
me finish. She's
intelligent
acting like a
as
woman
a
right now.
stupid
Holy
woman.
crap. I let her speak and now she won't let me speak. So it's interesting to me how she said, oh yeah, this isn't something new. Yeah, you're right. Everyone since ancient times knew that women we need to make them second-class citizens. And here's the craziest part. They lived in other ends of the world and they still realize the Asian dudes, ling bing ding, all the way to the fucking Mohammeds in the Middle East, to the Eastern Europeans of Slav, they all knew, damn, women are stupid. We need to go ahead and put them in the kitchen. Now they're out the kitchen. And what's going on? Society is crumbling.
Which civilization of all the ones that you listed do you like the most? Do you like modern America, or do you like Saudi Arabia, or do you like ancient Japan? Which one do you like the most?
Well, look, I like any society that has women under control, and right now we don't, which is why shit is fucked up.
So why don't you move to Saudi Arabia? They don't have the right to vote. They can barely drive. Like what?
It's a great place.
Do you want Sharia
It's a
law?
great place.
No,
That's
Myron.
true. They can drive now. They
I'm saying,
can drive.
Like,
They can drive, and that's bad.
wait, are you? But be
So
honest.
you think that Saudi Arabia is a better country than America?
When it comes to handling women, yes. Yes, when it comes
Well,
to
just
handling women,
overall,
yes.
don't change the question.
And
Don't run away
crime
from
is
it.
less in Saudi
Do you
Arabia.
think-
though.
Well, they have less crime.
You were talking about these global things about how when women are oppressed, that's been the societal trend. And so I asked you, modern America decided, along with a whole bunch of Western democracies, and I think you like Western civilization,
I do.
that's a bad idea. And so the question is, why is America so great if Saudi Arabia's got this one thing so well to like what shouldn't that be the great
Well,
country?
you could be better in different ways, right? Like
so Muslim
what I-
theocracies got it.
No,
they're
I
great.
didn't say. No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, here's the problem, right? When you have women having too much power, it creates a lot of issues because women are communitarian by nature, right? They don't know what the fuck they want to do. They can't even decide what they want to eat, let alone pick their own partners. That's why the divorce rates are through the fucking
Wait,
roof.
time out.
That's
You
why
guys admit
marriage is
it's
down in
hard
the
for women to
dumpster.
choose what to eat, though, Kat. Is that true? Can we at least
know?
agree on
Well,
that?
yes, but it also could be all this nicotine gum I'm always chewing.
Okay, I just-
like never that.
That is typically my girlfriend. It is hard for women to choose where to eat. I think you're 100% right about that.
Yeah, and then when you suggest something, they're like, I don't want to eat there. It's like, well, then... I don't know if that happens with you, Tyler, but yeah, it happens with me all the time. Where it's like, you choose something to eat, and then I suggest somewhere. It's like, I don't feel like that. It's like, well, then don't
doesn't
say
happen-
you don't care. Yeah,
Right, it doesn't happen so much with us, but I do most of the cooking, and I know, but you guys might not know, I'm a homesteader and a YouTuber, and so we try not to eat out as much as possible and stuff like that. So, we like the same stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe like I said before, we're a unique couple, but we like the same stuff. It's like, this is for dinner, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's not 100% agreement every time, but that goes both directions. But I understand that, you know what I mean? There's the one video the guy made where he pretended like he was taking his girlfriend or wife, I think it was girlfriend, to her favorite place, and she told him what the favorite place was, and he's like, yeah, that's exactly where we're going. You know what I mean? But he didn't have any clue before that. He baited her into telling him where to go, type of scenario or whatever. But she had a good question for Myron. Like, that's the difference. I will say that maybe hot take, but which society do you like more? Where would you rather live? It was a valid question, and he did kind of skirt around that answer, which obviously to me it's America. I don't have to hesitate on that. I don't want to live in Japan or China or Saudi Arabia or anywhere in the Middle East. It's America, and we stand out, and I think that America is the greatest place on earth, and that is in part to expanding the rights and equal rights and things. So I mean, it's just recognizing kind of the scenario, and maybe that makes me a covert feminist. I don't think it does. But I can at least recognize like the history of like maybe why we're in this scenario, and maybe it's not perfect. And I remember hearing a guy on the radio back in the early 2000s, late 90s, where he blamed women being able to vote and work and things like that for houses going up and prices going up. So this is a notion that I've pondered for decades, and that is partially true. Once society adjusted to look, we can charge more on houses, we can charge more on interest rates because people can afford it. But then it started a slippery slope that got out of hand, and now we have, the young people of our country are feeling the ramifications of it. And originally, like I said, I think it would be great to get back to the old school ways of marrying young, staying married, starting a family young, and whatever. But it's kind of a pipe dream now to just magically make that happen. So I don't
I
know.
don't think it. I don't think it's impossible though. I think
It would
it's
just
just
take
going to
time.
take a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, take
I don't.
work and time.
But yeah, I saw it a little bit differently when she asked, "Well, what society would you rather live in?" I think in a way that shows that because see, like I said, like the feminists or just the women that just disagree with this, they all see like what we're saying is, we're going to tie you up to the stove and take away all your rights. But I think the fact that even Myron can't say, "Yeah, I want to live in Saudi Arabia" or something like, I think it shows that we as men or the patriarchy, what have you, like we don't want to take away women's rights. We don't want to, go to like Islam style or something where we make them
Right.
cover from head to toe and blah blah blah. We don't want that society. We kind of just want it back to how it was, uh, like back, I don't know what 50s or I don't know, just something where
Yeah, I mean, when
society.
like I said, my grandparents, they had,
Yeah.
had kids when they were young, and I think that was kind of more the standard, even in our grandparents' day and age. So not so far back, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're not saying, "Oh, yeah, we just want to strip women of their rights" or anything like that. It's just this whole notion of just telling one, side, "Hey, you can kind of do whatever you want," and but this side, you kind of have all these responsibilities and duties, and you still have to die, and you still have to go to war and everything like that. It's kind of turned everything kind of topsy turvy. And at least again, from my perspective, is just that like I'm not saying, "Oh, women are the source for all the problems." I'm not saying that at all. I'm a happily married man. I love women too.
right.
Um, but feminism as a movement and an ideology has kind of ruined everything because it's not just about, oh, we just want to give women equal rights. It's about like, no, they've kind of absolved women of any responsibility whatsoever. And the fact of the matter is that it's kind of taken away any women's duties in society and responsibilities. But at the end of the day, it's still men who are still responsible for everything.
I get that.
And
Yeah, it's built
so,
this strong woman type that don't need no man for nothing, don't even hold the door for me. It's
mhm.
destroyed. It's destroyed the I'm losing. I lost the word, but you open a door for somebody, or
Oh,
you
chivalry.
chivalry. Yeah, it's destroyed
Mhm.
chivalry and things like that, like just proper mannerisms in society. And then people get attacked for I don't need you to open the door for me. It's like, oh, shit, sorry, look, I was just being nice. Like, it's
Yeah,
my principles, not yours. Don't yell at me because I'm trying to be chivalrous or whatever. But
yeah,
yeah, so
exactly.
it's turned into this hatred of men, which I don't know if that was its original goal, but that's what it's definitely turned into.
And it's also like demasculized men in a way. You have that problem over there, like in what's going on in Europe. Did you see the video of that 13-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl who
With
was fighting? Yeah, with the knife and the axe.
mhm.
Um, and they're still blaming men. Like, where were the men to step up? And it's like, well, this is like what you wanted, though. Like, this is like not only did you vote to import all these migrants in there, but
Mhm.
and supported that and called us assholes and bigots if we said, hey, that might not be a good idea. And now you're kind of reaping what you sow, and now you're still looking, hey, where are all the men at to protect us? It's like, well, you said that we can't speak out against this. You called us assholes and pieces of shit if we said,
Right.
hey, don't import all these people in there.
Right. The Daniel Pennies of the world who uh, do step up, get prosecuted, and threatened for life in prison. You know what I mean? When
Hmm.
when the scenario goes wrong. So it's just like, well, I got my own family to take care of. I guess
Yeah.
you're on your own, lady. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
exactly.
I can't get involved. It's bred a very cowardly society essentially from how we're supposed to be, at least the way I see it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, if you still want us to have our duties, which we're fully, we're ready to accept these as duties and responsibilities, but it's like, well, then maybe you have duties and responsibility as well. You can't have it both ways. You can't be girl boss, but then be like, hey, what happened to all the men at? It's
Yeah,
like,
and
well,
be
it's one or
damsel
the,
in distress. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's one or the other. All right.
Sure, but we also are like negating the fact that like some of the biggest breakthroughs in ecology science come from the humanitarian approach that women have. You know, DNA was discovered by women. So like the issue is that women are decently valuable. When we talk about women being stupid, men are stupid all the time too. Men are the like morons that are ending up in fucking jail all the time because they can't like stop
Wait,
punching
not
shit.
to, you made a good point. I think. Wait.
Is Frederick Meischer a woman? DNA was first identified by Swiss chemist Friedrich Meischer.
Yeah, they were trying to take
Who
credit
stole
for
it
our stuff.
from?
They also
Look at
said
that.
they were trying to say
Wow.
Wi-Fi was made by women. No, it wasn't. It was made by men as well. Women don't invent anything. They don't contribute to anything besides. Like, to be honest, the only real value women have is reproductive
I
value.
contribute more to
We're
the
gonna be honest.
economy than you do, Myron, just objectively.
Wait. I want to say I'm on Kat and not to side though. That don't you think women are equally valuable to society though? You don't think so?
Dude, if you remove sex and reproduction, they provide almost nothing.
Yeah, but those are
We're gonna be
we
honest.
wouldn't have life without those things.
Yeah,
so
sure.
so don't
Well, sure. But I want to
kinda
be clear
even the
about this.
playing field?
We don't need them. Like, here's the thing: women need us. We don't need them. We need them to propagate
They have our
society for the
babies,
next
dude.
generation.
I
That's what my
disagree.
point. I said
Yeah.
outside of reproduction.
Oh.
So, like, if we want to have kids, yes, we need them, but they need us.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, no, like men and women need each other. Like I don't want to be in a world without women. You know
Right.
what
I
mean?
love women.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You know?
and he makes a lot of these blank statements like women are useless, women can't drive, women historically have been stupid. It's like, well, do you know why? It's because the men prevented them from having educations.
Mhm.
It's not because they're made stupid by God. It was because the society at the time prevented them from being educated. They wouldn't allow women to learn how to read. It was the exception if a woman knew how to read. So a Western American society enables equal opportunity to be educated, and then it raises the women up. And so then you have to draw the distinction that American women, in my opinion, that were born and raised here at least, aren't the same women that you're talking about in history in these other countries that are, still, it's funny is, from what I understand, some of these countries that, they're so anti-women that they end up being homosexual. And then it's like, wait, so what are you? You know what I mean? Like, you hear about that from some of like the Middle Eastern countries and things like that, that they like literally despise the women so much, but they'll marry them and have babies with them, but they actually are homosexual because they like men more. So like, what?
Dave says, "Come on, Vic. Need and want are very different. Tyler, most men couldn't read either, so that it's a bad point." I mean, me personally, like I said, I mean, yeah, we do need women. Men and women need each other, but I don't know. I love my wife. I want her around. I don't just
Right.
need her around. I want her around.
Right. I have a daughter. I don't want her to be like suppressed. I don't want her to be like blocked from being able to read or walk the streets or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, exactly. Or when I got daughters too. It's like when they get married, them treated like property or something.
yeah.
Us for everything. So the reality is men bring far more value to society than women do. The only real value they provide is reproductive value. Because let's be honest here, you guys don't give a fuck about what they got to say. You guys are here for us. Nobody cares about what women got to say. They're the suckiest podcasters. Female YouTubers suck. Nobody gives a fuck about their opinion. We're just there for the tits.
Isn't
Let's be honest.
some of the largest podcasts, all Candace Owens, Call Her Daddy, like some of the
Yeah.
largest podcasts are
And
female run.
to be fair,
Wow.
Candace Owens is an exception.
It doesn't.
Wow, Candace Owens. I'm surprised she's bringing up right-wing Candace Owens.
Right. Well, whenever it's beneficial to her point, then they'll
Mhm.
invoke it. But just typical feminist Democrat type of way of thinking.
Yeah.
But he made a point right there, and I'm drawing a blank, but I wanted to comment on it. What did he just say right before that? Or could you bounce it back for a second?
Yeah. I'll go back. Let's see here.
Women need us. We don't need them. We need them to propagate
They have
society
our
for the
babies,
next
dude.
generation. That's what my point.
That's
I
what
said
it
outside
was.
of reproduction.
Uh, He says that men are more valuable to society, but like historically, and I'm not arguing, but I'm bringing up the question. Historically, when a village was conquered, they would kill all the men and keep the women. Why is that?
Mhm.
Because the women might actually have been more valuable. Men are replaceable. If we kill all of the women, then society ends.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't like the way that he maybe his measuring stick for value is what they can invent versus the actual value of what a person, brings to society as far as being able to reproduce. But you know what I'm saying? It just it popped in my head that like, they would kill all the men, they'd keep the women, they'd keep the children or whatever. It might, even if it was for slavery purposes or this or that, but it was also because then they could reproduce and
Well, yeah, reproduce, and also with all of the men there to
Grow-
fight for
grow
the
their
women
tribes.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because the men are the ones that would be protecting women, so they had to kill them all off because there goes the women's protection.
Right.
But yeah, no, exactly. Women are definitely needed.
Like if we want to have kids, yes, we need them, but they need us for everything. So the reality is men bring far more value to society than women do. The only real value they provide is reproductive value. Because let's be honest.
I will say that goes to Myron's point though, because if they're killing off all the men, women do need the men to protect them and stuff. And so that's why the men would get killed, because it's like, who are the women going to get to protect them then,
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's true.
so
That's why I don't know, it popped in my head as a question. Like it just seems like, I don't know, like initially you keep the valuable thing, you get rid of the disposable thing. Dave says here, no, they kept the women for reproduction. He's saying, outside of reproduction, why do we need them? Quit simping. Well, I mean, I'll simp for women. I love women, it's fine. But I'm fine with that. But I'm not like simping for feminism. I'm just asking the question because it popped in my head. I'm on a learning process just as much as you guys are.
I think that's fair.
You guys don't give a fuck about what they got to say. You guys are here for us. Nobody cares about what women got to say. They're the suckiest podcasters. Female YouTubers suck. Nobody gives a fuck about their opinion. We're just there for the tits.
Isn't
Let's be honest.
some of the largest podcasts, all Candace Owens, Call Her Daddy, like some of the largest podcasts are
And
female run.
to be fair,
Candace Owens is an
hold on.
exception.
It doesn't matter if you don't like them. The point is that they're highly successful. So maybe you guys don't like to listen to women, but that doesn't mean
I will say that a lot of the reasons that those women are successful is because a lot of men find them attractive though.
Yeah.
It's easier for an attractive woman to have successful podcast than it is for any man to have a successful podcast.
Yeah, I think it might be
That
easier for
broader
a woman to
society.
have a successful podcast, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly.
he doesn't. For example, take women out of the workforce. You've nuked your economy overnight. It's done. They contribute, even if we're being mild and conservative, 30%.
Well, that'd be
probably
good.
around 50%.
That'd be good for the airline pilot industry, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that save us a lot?
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot more going on with the airline pilot industry than just women.
But women are usually taking social jobs like teachers and nurses and stuff like that.
Yeah, we need those jobs.
We do, but we need petroleum engineers more.
I would disagree.
know
We need
about
to
that.
raise our
I mean,
children.
I mean,
I
we
would like
should
literate
abolish
children.
Public schools. Public schools are shit.
But we should still be teaching our kids. We want our kids to be literate.
I agree. And I think
we need
women are
nurses,
great teachers. when it
right? Like
comes to,
every
basic
one of
knowledge
you
stuff.
has been to a hospital, and you're probably super grateful that there's an entire help industry oriented at making sure that your ass doesn't die. Especially a lot of your fat asses don't die.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I mean
That was
that's a
funny.
good point that she actually made right there. Is that the majority of the nursing community is women? It's care. That's part.
Yeah.
It's geared towards their nature. Essentially, is care.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. And it's always been that way too. It's not like before feminism there were no female nurses or something like that. There were always roles for them for careers and jobs in society.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like, oh yeah, before feminism came along, the women were just chained to the stove and they just cooked us our meals and then that was it.
Right.
It was like they had their roles. They had the nurses, they were teachers. They already had like careers and jobs and stuff, but now it's like we've
They
really
might have-
pushed them. Huh?
I was gonna say they might have been the ones that actually delivered babies and things like that as well.
Oh yeah. The what is it? The midwives?
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah. That midwives, and so they're already had like roles in society and such, and but this push with feminism, the problem is that feminism just told women, no, you got to do more. Now you got to be CEOs. Now you got to do all these things and pretty much put careers first and family second. And even like you said, like women's nature is to be more caring, to care for the children, to care for like their husbands when they're sick. Um, have you ever did you watch do you know the movie Ted?
Yeah, I've watched it once or twice.
Did you ever see the TV show they had that came out like 2 years ago?
I didn't know. I didn't even know they made a TV show out of it.
Yeah, no, that's completely fine. I don't think a lot of people did. But it was on Peacock, and there was one episode that I liked because the show was like whatever, but there's one episode that I thought was good, and it was because the mom, because this took place like in the 90s, but the mom was a stay-at-home mom. She cared for her family. She really cared for her husband, even though they make the husband turn out like they make him out to be some kind of like asshole, sexist dude or whatever. Um, she was like a stay-at-home mother, really cared for her husband. And they have this her niece who's like the stereotypical feminist, feminist young lady who's living there, and she finds out that the mom was studying to become a teacher at one point, and she got her degree in teaching. And she goes, "Wow, why didn't you ever become a teacher?" And the mom was like, I had my son and the family. My family came first, so I decided to just take care of my family." And so she's like, "Wow, I can't believe you did that. You sacrificed becoming a teacher to serve your family. Well, you know what? It's about time you go out and become a teacher." And she's like, "Okay, yeah, I never thought about that." So the mom goes out, gets a teaching job, becomes a teacher for a day, right?
Mhm.
And she was fine at it. She liked it. And there were at the end of her first day, she has to help a girl kind of get through some stuff. So she kind of helps this girl with some kind of personal issues. And she comes home, and the niece was like, "Oh, how was your day at school?" And she's like, "Oh, I quit." And the niece is like, "What? Why did you do that? Why did you quit? I thought this was your dream. I thought you wanted to be a teacher." And she was like, "Yeah, you know what? I just felt like I was better needed at home." And the feminist niece obviously was like, "What? But how could you say that? Look how you're treated around here. You're not appreciated. All these things. You should
Mhm.
be a teacher." And she's like, "No,
Sacrifice.
yeah." And she's like, "No, I just feel like I'm needed here." And the niece that tries to talk to her, like, "No, no, no, you should be a teacher." And the mom, who in the show never snaps at anybody, never yells at anybody, she's really submissive, snaps at the niece and goes, "Leave it alone. I'm fine." And the
Yeah.
niece was like, "Oh shit." And so then the mom's husband comes home, and he's had a shitty day at work. His feet's hurting and stuff. He's bitching and complaining about how work was. And so the mom sits him down in his favorite recliner, and she goes, "Oh, let me rub your feet for you," and stuff like that. And the niece, meanwhile, is watching this, and she's like in disbelief. She's like, "I don't understand. Like, she could have been a successful teacher. Why
Right.
is she throwing that all away just to take care of this guy and her family and stuff?" Like, she couldn't believe it. Like, she just thought, and at the end, she just thought the mom was just stupid. Like, that was her conclusion. Like, well, they're just old school women. Like, they just don't know any better, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, it's showing that no, like it's just that she felt she was valued there at the home. That's where she was needed. And then the end of the day, that's why she left the teaching and decided to stay at home, because that's where her value came from, was for helping her husband, her son, being a stay-at-home mother.
Right.
And I
Well,
felt like that's oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's funny how the phrasing is that they made the sacrifice. It's like, was it a
Mhm.
sacrifice? You know what I mean? To take care of your own kids and your family, like, was it a sacrifice? Like, I don't know. It's just that's that feminist like mindset coming at them and saying that you sacrificed for that. You'd
Yeah.
sacrifice your career. No, it's not a sacrifice at all.
Yeah.
I think you're not using the word properly. You
Mhm.
reminded me. I started watching this. Was it Somebody and Mandy Get Married or whatever? It was a spinoff from.
Oh, young Sheldon, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
started trying, like, it auto played to that, and I was like, oh, that was a decent episode. And I got into like the third one, and the I think it was the Mandy character or whatever was like, who wants to make the sacrifice to raise a baby for this long? And it's like, holy crap! Like,
Yeah.
no wonder why society's gotten to the point. I mean, look at the programming that's literally coming out from the shows that we watch. It's like, you know, A lot of women, I
Exactly.
think, would like to stay at home. It's society dictates they must work or they don't eat or they don't have a
Mhm.
home or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah,
so it's
it exactly. It is a social programming, and even the feminism, when the women want to stay home and be a mom or a wife, they look at that as they don't know any better. Oh, they just don't know any better. They're stupid, you
mhm.
know? And
Yeah.
it's that type of programming too. Like, well, if you're doing that, then you're doing it wrong.
Yep. That's the
And
Democrat arrogance. Like, you believe in God?
yeah,
What?
yeah,
How
exactly.
stupid. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the arrogance of, "Oh, you believe in God? You wanna stay home and take care of your husband and kids? Like, what?"
Right. How dumb
And,
are you? I know better. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, you're out of the conversation.
yeah, but you're absolutely right
Yeah.
too, that word sacrifice is used a lot. I've seen it used a lot of places where it's like, "Oh, she sacrificed, her career to stay at home and, be a wife and stuff like that." It
Right.
is that kind of subtle programming that tells women and stuff, "No, no, no, no. You're doing it wrong if you wanna be a stay-at-home wife and mother."
Right.
And that's why that's kind of the stuff that we're kind of trying to fight against. Because, like you said, yeah, we can't just flip a switch and make everything go back to how it was before, where people were getting married young and becoming a family at a younger age and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I think the first part is fighting against this programming, and once we kind of flip the programming around and get it to a more positive type of I know it's kind of seen as a bad word, but it's kind of neutral propaganda. If we start with that, then we could slowly start fixing all the other problems that are contributing to why both people need to work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. And, like I've advocated for a long time to homeschool your kids, but like, how can you do that with two working
yeah.
incomes? It's very hard. You know what I mean? So like, it's just going to take time. It takes a community. That's the other thing is we lack community now. We find our spaces online. We actually don't know the people that live next door to us, but we know people that we've never seen their face much, much better because they're in our circles online type
hmm
scenario. So, I mean, it really, technology and society and just everything has kind of led us to be more um, individualistic, which when you look at things in the grand scheme of things, like what does the World Economic Forum want you to do? They want you to live in the pod, be happy, eat the
hmm
bugs. And
yeah.
we're
And
on
won't own
we're
anything.
yeah, don't own anything exactly. And where are we on the path to? We're putting everybody, all these the young kids, they're all renting. They don't
hmm
own home, they don't own shit.
hmm
Um we find our communities online, which we can do in the pod. You know what I mean? And
hmm
if you get everything you need, then you don't need money. And so just
yeah.
be happy in the pod. Um, it's a wild scenario, but I mean, I feel like that's kind of what everything is grooming us and pushing us towards be, eat the bugs and be happy, own nothing, live in the pod. I should say live in the pod, eat the bugs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think COVID was like a big move toward that as well. Cause
Yeah.
listen, I'm a pretty like introverted guy. Like in
Yeah.
in my real life, I'm very quiet. Like I'm pretty introverted.
Yeah.
And I used to rely on everyone else to be the extroverts in order to, carry my introverted ass around in conversations and shit.
Mhm.
and but like nowadays, it's like even people that I know who used to be pretty extroverted, like ever since after COVID happened, everyone's like socially awkward now. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, guys, like even when I'm sitting here saying, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't be so socially awkward here. Like maybe we should kind of get out and talk to each other more. Like even when I'm saying that, that's pretty bad.
All
And
right.
I noticed that I was, and I
Yeah.
noticed that after COVID, it's just everyone was so isolated for so long. We were kind of like still struggling to kind of get back to where we were before, where people knew how to talk to each other and
Yeah.
social norms and stuff of that nature.
Right. Well, I suggest this as a starting point is find a good church and start going to it every
hmm
Sunday. You know what I mean? To make community at least there. Get to know your neighbors. Mow their yard or something. You know what I mean? Do something. If you live where it snows, go shovel their driveway or whatever. That type of scenario. make community. But yeah, it's hard. And this is coming from me, who I've gone 2 weeks without leaving my house. Amazon and Walmart delivered everything I needed. You know what I mean? And I think it kind of, a lot of the YouTube type personalities like Matt Moore's TV, he says the same thing. Just we stay in our chair, we work, and we don't really leave. And so then it's just hard, and it grows as a part of that's growing out and expanding into society more and more every day. Everybody starting to work from home. That was another push that happened from COVID, was so many more people started working from home, and then just we lose the human connect, and then we form our opinions and stuff on what we actually hear online versus what we experience in life. And it's just important to make sure that we're not stuck in our own echo chamber, essentially. You know what I mean? Because that's what I accuse the Democrats of being all the time. And it's just caution of doing what you're saying is wrong with the other people.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, exactly. And man, I had a point, but fucking forgot. Anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I guess bottom line is that there's a lot of things that we got to fix in our society, that's good advice there, like you said, about like getting going to church, getting to know your community and stuff. See, this is why people like me need people like you around. Because
that's why these conversations are important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly, because that's great advice right there. And
I appreciate it.
Sorry, I was just like, man, I had something before.
That's all good.
All right. Anyway, I guess
was it when I said go shovel your neighbor's driveway or whatever? Which I got a funny story about that. The reason why I use that as an example is a buddy of mine in Kansas City, where I don't live. I used to live. That's where I grew up. He decided he was going to shovel his neighbor's driveway. They got kids, and he has kids himself, but he's got a snow blower, so it's easier for him than whatever. And it snowed like 6 or 7 inches. It was pretty heavy snow. And they didn't even say thank you to him. He's like, so I'm never doing a damn thing for those people again. So, I mean, it works both ways. You got to be cautious. It's not like a end all be all, fix,
solution. Yeah.
But, give with a giving heart, and then don't expect anything in return as well whenever you're doing that type of, community service.
Yeah. No, exactly. 100% correct. But yeah, so we got a lot of problems to fix. But what did you guys at home? I got to do this for the clipping. What did you guys at home think about this clip? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed it. Also, give this video a like. Also, subscribe to my guest Tyler here at Go Tyler TV. That's his YouTube channel. He's the host of the Jar Openers podcast. You live stream what, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or Saturdays? I mean.
Yeah, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. We go for about a couple hours. We have a nice little growing community over there. We also have a Discord, which you can find that on my channel. It's in the description of all my videos, and I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and I'll leave the links in the description down below.